Hey, what's happening?
Everybody's favorite hour is here.
It's time. It's a happy hour. We got the BGs staying alive. That's what we're doing in this market, huh? We are staying alive.
Man, what a great week.
That's it.
Man, sorry we're a few minutes late, man. I got caught in some traffic.
A little bit late. But I'm sure the viewing audience will
forgive
understand.
us. Mark Zuckerberg called and said, "Get on the air."
Yeah. Mark Z texted.
We just call him Mr. Z. Man, yeah. So how's your week going?
Man, going good.
What you been up to?
Just trying to get some loans done, trying to negotiate some stuff, and navigate changes. Sometimes in loans you've got changes, right?
Changes.
You got things that change with the borrower, with the property, with.
And the bar is always 100% true. Well, telling you everything.
Well, yeah, but I mean, sometimes these things are out of your control. But listen, we got to make change. We got to adjust and go, right? We still got deadlines to meet, closing tables to get to. So
got to make it happen, man. How the kids?
They're doing good. Doing good. Back in school. Actually, Brady back into Chelsea.
Chelsea High School now, right?
Tuesday. Started Tuesday.
High school?
Yep. And then Hoover City started on Wednesday. So.
And Boston College?
Boston is Boston University. That'll be starting up early September.
Happy hour, Sharon.
Yeah, in the CrossFit Games.
How'd that go? Did you win?
Matt Fraser repeated third time in a row he's won.
He was using your routine, wasn't he?
Unbelievable. And the last couple of events were crazy. But
is it now? What do they do? Anything you do on a regular basis?
Oh no, nothing. I couldn't. There's no way I could handle that. They did a handstand walk, like an obstacle course.
Across?
Yeah, on their hands. Amazing. He's a 3-time winner. Tia Toomey is a 2-time winner. And then we've got John Colty, was from Birmingham.
Really?
I meant to look him up on Facebook.
I don't know who that is.
And tell him.
I thought we knew everybody.
Tell him I was going to give him a shout out. So I'll have to.
But you just did.
Yeah. So John Colty, I'll
say hello.
I'll find you later.
Absolutely. Well, big week in the real estate market. Zillow making a move in our industry.
Man, I tell you, Zillow has really done a lot of things in the last few years. Kind of the evolution of this as a lender. Their online reviews have been big for 3 or 4 years. And, trying to accumulate those as a lender has helped out a good bit for me, I believe. And, they've been selling a lot of leads. They sell a lot of leads. I know they have some co-marketing stuff that real estate agents get involved with and lenders help out with. But they also have what's called some long-form leads where they ask the borrower several questions and they sell those to lenders. So they've been doing a lot over the past couple of years. Now they've got a couple of new things they're bringing to the market, sounds like, huh?
Absolutely. They purchased a mortgage company, and they have also, we've talked about it a few weeks ago, where Zillow was getting involved in essentially the flipping game of buying houses.
Yeah. And
they were going to make this all in one thing. But now, the big thing they always told the real estate agents, hey, guess what? We're never going to get a real estate license. I promise we're not. We're not going to become a brokerage. And guess what they've done in Arizona? They've gone and gotten their real estate brokerage license. But, hey, it's only for their flips. But they're still going to use agents.
Yeah, I want to read this. So they had, this was on Monday, August the 6th. Zillow announced entering into a definitive agreement to acquire Mortgage Lenders of America, LLC.
Who are these people?
I've never heard of them. Direct mortgage lender. They're based in Overland Park, Kansas.
Okay.
So I think they're just a mortgage company, so they've just got the licensing and the operations probably set up so Zillow could just come in.
So would this have been traditionally a mortgage-type company that was like, I guess you could buy a franchise of?
Yeah, they probably just bought the name or bought the company probably just to leverage the licensing and the operations. They're saying to streamline and shorten the home buying process and listen to this, for consumers who purchase a home through Zillow Offers. Now, Zillow Offers is what you had mentioned.
Well, they're buying with their venture capital money.
Yeah. And it goes on to say a little over a year ago, Zillow began testing a home selling option for homeowners who want a certain and predictable sale on their timeline. So these homeowners participating markets can request an offer from Zillow, kind of like CarMax. Right, they'll give you a guaranteed price. They'll buy your car for a guarantee. So Zillow will give you a price. You provide their address, answer some questions. They review the details, the local market conditions. Then they respond with a cash offer within a few days.
With their money.
with their money.
But my biggest question on this is, how are they going? I mean, if this thing was meant to be used with this, where in the world were they? If they're not trying to actually get in the game and cannibalize you guys,
and cannibalize everybody, right?
Well, no, that was a given.
Yeah, because if they're buying houses now, if they're buying and selling houses, and they're providing mortgage options, and they say they're just providing the mortgage option on Zillow offers,
but that doesn't make sense.
They're not going to have enough revenue to run a mortgage company, I would think, off of just this one little bit. So what I'm saying is, yeah, to your point, I think they are going to be trying to, grow that.
They have to. It's natural for a business to want to make money, and the only way they're going to make money is to eliminate referrals out and keep it all in-house.
Yeah, and you typically wouldn't go through acquiring a company, right, just to do one little piece, just for a small segment of transactions.
And what's interesting, though, is that if they indeed were going to just use it amongst these transactions, but I thought a month ago they were talking about their real client in this thing is helping a seller get out of their situation.
Exactly.
So why would you need a mortgage company?
There's no mortgage involved in Zillow offers because they are buying the house. So now they're saying they're going to turn around and sell the house and provide financing on the Zillow offers that they're selling.
Right. Yeah. Your baby girl just said hi.
There you go. Hey, Taylor, sick vibes.
Sick vibes.
I appreciate
Do you know what that means? That's probably doesn't mean what
Scott
you think
Stearns likes the cartoon pick. Man.
It's a better version of you.
Yeah.
It kind of is. Now, going back to this, though, which is so interesting, and we're going to focus a little bit on the mortgage stuff because it's the fascinating piece. Because I think we had already come to the conclusion that if they could get in and stop and get into the brokerage business, it's easy on a referral basis. If they can make more money, you can get 25% of a deal. That's better than what they're making potentially now if they could scale it. So, and then ultimately, I think the question that a lot of folks have is, how does that affect me as a consumer? If you and I are in the business, that's a given. But how does that affect the consumer? And that's ultimately the question. Will they have because one of the things that Zillow's finding is that a lot of their folks that are on their website are millennials. And so the millennials want a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
Very similar to,
we got ABC.
Hey, there they are.
Barry Ballinger.
Yeah. But
Karen King.
The ultimate question, though, is whether or not Zillow can execute and millennials will care more about a one-stop shop than they will that local provider.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think anytime you deal with that kind of an online presence and this kind of possibly the model, the business model that they have to employ when they pay their loan officers or whoever's working on the business, obviously that's going to factor in what type of care they put into the work, how their sense of urgency, right? Are they incentivizing these people to be excellent, to be top of the market? Are they the best loan originators? And are they going to get hard deals done? Are they going to have the sense of urgency to get business done?
I think what you're alluding to is what we found when we have clients that have gone to the Quicken Loans, and you're going to hear people that had good experiences with Quicken Loans. But what I'll tell you is the vast majority of my experience, because I'm not going to talk about the market, have been that they were using very new, young people that didn't understand the market. They were overselling and under-delivering, and the closing never happened on time.
Well, yeah.
If it happened.
Yes.
And same
there's
thing
a lot
here.
of reviews. There's plenty of reviews that you can find online about Quicken. So it's easy to look them up, easy to look up that customer experience. But that's typically going to be the advantage that we have is going to be the knowledge, the skill, sense of urgency, things like that Quicken and these other online lenders are not able to pay the money for.
Hey,
typically.
Courtney, but in that respect, though, don't you agree, though, that Zillow is uniquely positioned with money that just like Quicken was, to withstand some early gut punches?
Well, they've already got the name. They've got the ability to market this thing, which is great. I want to underline here that says they are putting this mortgage option together for the seamless experience for consumers who buy Zillow-owned homes. So they say it again, and they're sending this out to a lender, myself, as who I do business with Zillow, and they say that they had the mortgage lenders are a very important piece of their business still. They had 23 million loan requests in 2017. So
they're loving you. They're holding you right here. And this other hand, well, you don't see this other hand, is in your back pocket.
Yeah. Well,
taken from you.
Yeah, and they're coming on the backside to compete with us. It seems like.
Well, no, there's no doubt that. Here's the thing. Ultimately, if Zillow wins this battle, we didn't do our jobs, the practitioners, right? Because in front of people, face to face, we should be able to come up locally on a very local level ways to completely combat these guys. I mean, I can speak for the National Association of Realtors and people like that did an awful job of when we had the opportunity to push off Zillow. Instead, we gave them all the information, and Zillow, what did they do? They used us to build their business. It's quite frankly genius. It's kind of like, Netflix, some of these other disruptors that flat out used their own clientele to build.
Exactly, but they did a great job of marketing. They did a good job of putting information out there. Even the Zestimates, although they were terrible in the beginning, right?
Awful.
They still got a lot of marketing. They still got a lot of traffic, a lot of eyeballs went to Zillow to see the Zestimate, even though everybody in the business knew they were terrible.
Well, and I think the biggest compliment, and realtors don't want to talk about it, but their website is the best search engine out there for the mass market. Now, you have realtors that pay a lot of money that have other ones, all right? And spend a lot of money. But if you were talking about a general search engine, they're the best. I mean, Realtor.com, just in case anybody didn't know, was never truly owned. It was owned by Move.com, whatever, owned it, and not Move On. That would be the political organization. But we had the opportunity, and we blew it. Now, your industry, if they do not respond, what your industry doesn't have that they have is they have eyeballs that they're already there. So what do we do about it? We're going to have to, and we'll talk about that in coming weeks about how this affects the consumer, because I think that's what's most important.
They've got a lot of market data. If you go on and look at any realtor's profile, it's got all their recent sales in the last 24 months. All of the 121 reviews that I have, everybody had to sign up and give their information to Zillow. So all the lender reviews, all the realtor reviews are associated with a consumer and their profile that they can now market to.
And they've linked them. That's I think what is the biggest thing is they have linked all this data. And I tell you, another big thing coming out of our industry is Wells Fargo. Here they go again. Guess what? This is good. No, it's bad news again.
Bad news again.
I mean, dadgum. How much money do these people have? Get this, though. $8 million has been set aside for them. Now, remember, last week, what was it?
$2 billion. $2 billion.
This week, it's a paltry $8 million for improperly foreclosing on 400 families that were supposed to be going into mortgage modification programs that the government was offering.
Wow. And
they just didn't do it. They were completely asleep at the wheel. Wells Fargo, why anyone, in my opinion, in case anybody's there, banks with Wells Fargo, it baffles me.
Yeah, it's amazing. But, even last week we looked at it and they were down 3% with a 3% dividend year to date. So you're still breaking even after all the bad news.
From an investment standpoint.
Yeah, from an investment standpoint. They're one of those two.
But do you not have options? Have you driven down? We're here in Birmingham and Highway 280. Have you seen how many banks are here?
Yeah.
There are options where they won't be stealing from you. And I still kills me, man. Every time I see that commercial that basically says, hey, we were built in 1873. Now, it's 2018. Can you forget about everything in the middle?
And reestablished 2018, right?
We have stopped screwing you.
Yeah.
It's amazing. What a marketing effort.
It is.
Oh,
they poured a bunch of money into it.
Man, I hope everybody that's watched these every week can go back to our stock picks. And you bought the picks and then you didn't sell them. Here comes another one. Crushing earnings we gave probably about 10 weeks ago. Carvana. Crushing earnings today.
CVNA,
CVNA,
Carvana. So I think I think when Collier started talking about it, he was, what was about, what did you say,
27, 26, yep, somewhere in that range.
30, now it's up at 54.
54, I mean, just, here's the thing.
Big jump.
Just buy and hold in this market because, and by the way, if you're not in the market, get in the market. And let me tell you why. Is that you're going to be missing another run here. It doesn't make necessarily sense. But if you're Chicken Little the whole way through this economy, nothing's making sense either in the Trump administration. I mean that in a good way. You don't know what's next. Yeah. And we don't know what's next for earnings
and
either.
I did pull up an article today from a guy named Michael Taylor. Okay, it was talking about how you can't avoid becoming a millionaire if you start saving early. He wrote the book, The Financial Rules for New College Grads. I think the guy used to sell bonds for Goldman Sachs, I believe. So, been in the financial markets for a long time. He said, if you start in your 20s with just a couple of reasonable investments, you can't avoid becoming a millionaire. You just can't help it.
You can't avoid.
Yeah. No. So, he said from 1970, and I think he got this from bankrate.com, from 1970 to 2016, the S&P 500 return averaged 10.3% a year. Now, that assumes reinvesting dividends, but that's not a big deal. Okay, 10.3% a year from 1970 to 2016. If you were to save $5 a day at that 10% return, over 50 years, that'd be $2.3 million.
$2.3 million?
Yeah. He said a 20-year-old, if a 20-year-old invested $5,500 days, $5,500, that would be $600,000 by the age 70.
It just shows you. I mean, what are we teaching our kids, right? Here's the thing. We go back to what we were talking about. You and I've talked about it. And at the end of the day, the practicality of sending your kid to community college. I love what Chris Rock said about community college. You know why they call it community college? Because everybody can go.
Community.
Yeah, that's it. Everybody can go. But
well, I mean, the thing is, I think the stats show that most millennials are planning on starting to save for retirement when they get into their late 30s, which is too late. If you start, I mean, now granted, you can catch up and, you can make the best of whenever you start saving, right?
Well, and you got to start at some time,
if you start early, that compound interest really starts kicking in and working.
The dividends too. I mean, make sure one of the big things you got to make sure is that you have it set to reinvest.
Yeah.
A lot of the settings aren't automatic.
No.
But now one big thing, Fidelity coming out with some no load, no fee, no nothing. ETF, electronic traded funds. They just track the S&P and something like that. So Fidelity, we're big fans of Schwab, Fidelity, Ameritrade, TD Ameritrade, but also Robinhood, of course, if you're going to trade individual stocks. But going back to that though, is that the reason I brought up the college was that we really do set them on a different footing, and you set yourself up on a different footing as a parent. If for instance the child's not on any scholarship, if you can save just 2 years of that, send them to the community college, what's going to happen? You're going to have a lot more money for yourself in retirement, and they're going to be set better because they're not having to get loans.
Yes, absolutely. And if you can cut down on the number of loans that ultimately they have to repay, that could be huge for them. I mean, obviously, being in the mortgage business, we pull credit reports and see it every day where people have a number of student loans that they're still paying on.
How old's the oldest you've seen?
Oh,
person.
Man, I don't.
In the 50s, you think?
I don't even know.
Definitely,
probably. I mean, definitely mid-late 40s.
Wild.
For sure. But I mean, I've seen, hundreds and thousands of dollars in student loans, which, for some professions, some career trajectories.
Makes sense, right?
Might make sense. But,
I mean, if you're going to be a physician, I get it. But just don't be a specialist, probably.
Yeah.
Because you're going to crush it.
But I think the big deal is just saving early, starting early. In those number of years late after 10, 15, 20 years, the averages start kicking in, and those all of the money that's been saved and multiplying just keeps growing. Well,
and I think, too, when the best advice, we talk about Clark Howard all the time, at Clark.com. He talks about is make sure when we talked about Fidelity, Schwab, TD Ameritrade, those type brokerages, they make it easy. Don't necessarily bank at the same place you're doing your investing. I'm not so sure that they always, because look, again, another Wells Fargo issue. They're going to have to settle some claims because guess what? Their advisors were putting them in the Jelly of the Month Club because they were going to get a free trip to Hawaii, and they're putting them in investments. It doesn't make sense sometimes, and people, you really got to be careful about what you're doing because it's too easy, actually, to go out into the market and find good investment.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of, first steps to investing is going to be, that emergency fund for 6 months expenses, but then putting maybe $10,000 or $20,000 into just a safe index fund. Then you're not relying on a commission that somebody's getting paid to move it from Facebook to Snap, right? Because whatever.
No.
Example,
I'm sitting there going, well, I don't know about Snap.
Something stupid that they're getting paid
That's right.
extra commission on. So you don't have to worry about that if you're just into a generic index fund, like something tracking.
And I get it's not that much fun.
Yeah, it's not exciting.
But either he's losing.
Yeah.
Because individual stocks you're going to lose at times. So
Robin Phillips joined us and Donnie Stokes. Good to see you guys.
All right. Well, we got some real estate stats came out for July of this year.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because last week we did talk about the fact that nationally prices had topped out in March and inventory had bottomed out. So inventory was rising, prices were coming down nationally. That may not be true in individual markets. I talked to a guy earlier this week in Boston. He said that is not true there. But what do we got?
Well, we got the total number of sales year over year was actually a 6% increase in July of this year.
From July 18 to 17.
To 17 was a 6% increase. We also saw an increase in the average sales price by 5%. And also the median, which is the dead middle price on real estate here in the Birmingham market, was a 9% increase. But what happened to inventory?
Inventory did decrease, so 13% still. Now, is that a larger decrease than what we've been seeing?
Well, I think there have been year-over-year. Now, these are year-over-year statistics.
Yeah.
So there was times earlier in the year.
Yeah, that's a 13% decrease from last July to this July on the inventory.
Absolutely. So if you look back here in Jefferson County, just looking back, we have been pretty strong in Shelby and pretty consistent in the last 4 months with the number of listings that have come onto the market. You've been averaging about 600 in Shelby County and about 1,200 in Jefferson County.
Yeah, and what is interesting here, the residential inventory, this tracks the active listings over from 2011 to 18. And it does show, let's say January of 16 was 6,300, January 17, 56. January of 18 looks like the low of 49.
Yeah, that was when
actually our inventory is up from 4,900 in January to 5,800 and increasing slowly.
And it looks like we same percentage wise because we went from 49 to 58, and last year we went from 56 to about 66. So roughly around the same increase. The question then becomes the unknown as we go into the fall. What's going to happen? We used to be very cyclical.
Yeah, so it looks like each of the last 3 years, our inventory has gone back down from August down through the end of the year.
I mean, just to remind people, we were over 10,000 listings in May of 2011. So we've lost half of our inventory since 2011. And so that's what's creating this very high demand, low inventory environment. And what we're hoping doesn't happen is that the buyers sour and just say, I'm going to a rental, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Because the buyers are out there. If somebody's looking to sell their house, there's no better time than now because the prices are there. One of the interesting things that we saw, look at this number here in our northern region. The number of foreclosure sales, which would be Gardendale, if you're in Gardendale, Fultondale, anywhere Hayden up that way, how many foreclosures did they have? Zero. I have yet to see that in any area.
Back in January of 17, it was close to 20 in 1 month.
This is just that one area
in 1 month, in just that area. Now it's down to zero. So that's definitely good.
And then we look, here in the southern region, we had 16, which is obviously a little bit lower than normal, but still it is dropping precipitously. That's why, a lot of the folks have been looking to get into the flipping game, the rental game, those type things. if you're going to have to go more the traditional route than you have in the past of buying I don't want to say a retail, but you're more retail price.
Yeah, we got, years ago, we got so accustomed to doing foreclosures. It was like so frequent that we were doing them all the time and really got to know how to do them, which is kind of weird. We don't see as many financing on foreclosures, not near as many as we were doing years past.
And one of the things that we talk about too is that the prices in the southern region, which is where we do a lot of business, which is downtown, south to Chelsea, south to Calera, that whole kind of corridor that would create I guess you'd say a triangle back down. I mean, very high. Let's say the average. The price.
Average price, total sales price average is $300,000.
313.
313,000, which is up a little bit, not tremendously.
Hey, by the way, our friends in Atlanta are going, "Woo, y'all are excited."
Yeah, it's down a little bit from May and June, but a pretty big spike in June for 328 and then down to 313.
Yeah, but still holding steady, and a lot of that is demographic in terms of income levels and those type things. The northern region has been thing, but now the eastern region that has Trussville anchoring it, that's always been one that has always baffled us because you had Trussville, but then you had everybody else. And, last month, they are the one area that, 32 foreclosures out of a total of 400 sales, which, what does that make that percentage-wise? You went to Georgia Tech. What is 32
out of 400 is going to be just a little under 10%.
See?
So it's right at 8%.
There we go. We had a little bit of a delay there. The phone kicked on. I must have forgot to put the
Do not disturb.
Do not disturb on.
But yeah, 32 in January 17, 52 I think was the highest number of foreclosure sales in 1 month in that region. So anyway, the numbers are better. Seems like inventory is coming up a little bit, but it always tends to drop down. Maybe that's because not as many people put their house in the market.
That's right. You're seeing a tail off, especially with moms right now. What we're seeing, look, they're only worried about one thing right now: getting back to school.
Yeah, and getting in a routine.
Yeah, the dad doesn't understand, but we got to get homework. We got to get all that stuff lined up.
I think everything gets a little smoother when the school gets back in and everybody's on a routine.
And quite frankly, a lot of these football, those things are cranking. If Brady's starting, is he playing?
Yeah, he's playing. He'll be playing basketball hopefully, and
but he hasn't started. I don't guess.
Just working out and stuff like that.
Working out.
But the football, is definitely back in.
Yeah, so I mean they're back. So cheerleading, all that goes with that. So we do see a slowdown here.
Dance.
Dance.
Dance has started.
That never ends.
Yeah, I don't think dance only ends for like maybe a week or two.
A week. Oh, but they require you to do stuff in the summer.
Out of 52.
They require you to do stuff in the summer,
I would have never known.
It's crazy. Ruby.
We're there every week.
Rain.
We just started back over dance. So it's like 8 hours a week.
Well, y'all did. Oh, yeah. Man.
Goodness.
And then it's going to be like, we got to practice. Man, it's just one thing after another. Woo. And then Julia's shoes or foot won't stop growing. And I'm like, how many pairs of ballet shoes do we have to buy?
Yeah.
I mean, geez Louise.
Keep running through them.
Well,
man, if anybody knows John Colty, tell him to look us up and tell him we gave him a shout out. And you guys have a beautiful week.
Big stuff. Anything big happening this weekend?
Not that I know of. We're off into August, and
you hitting the links?
I'm sure I might try to hit a couple of golf balls, but
you need to get Courtney out there with you.
Yeah,
I hear she's a ringer.
Yeah, she's a lefty. So
really,
yeah,
really, she's like Phil.
Mm-hmm.
She's sophisticated like him, so I bet she is good.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see you next week, same time, same place.
All right, guys, y'all have a good week.
All right, see y'all. Have a good week.